Well, good morning. I'm out real early. My computer is having technical difficulties. Can't seem to type more than a couple of sentences, and then every time I push a button, some Windows thing comes up. And I've tried System Restore, and it's not coming up that way, so don't know what's happening. But here's a park. Kids can go on this pulley thing. I don't know if this camera's picking it up. But I'm going to sit on top of this thing today and talk about what's on my mind. And it's basically looking at everything from a completely different perspective. And if we really wanted to clean up the planet and do everything that's right, we basically need a system reboot. I don't quite think everybody knows what's involved or how easy it can actually be. Kind of scary up here. Weird. See, you can go off this pulley in the summer and the kids jump off here. Ugh. So I thought I would just talk about some things that are on my mind that if we looked at things from a completely different perspective, what would you see? A really interesting conversation I had with somebody that came on this beach that was just wanting to heal. She came near water because she felt water would make her feel better. There's something to do with water in our perceptions. If we changed, could be very powerful because water seems to be fairly healing. And we're polluting our water right now. So, got a beautiful sky. It's really early in the morning now. So, I suspect we might have a sunny day. But what I wanted to talk about is more of looking outside the bubble. And I don't really fit within society all that well because I see everything from a completely different perspective than most people. And it's like I'm hardwired now to talk about it because I see it everywhere in my friggin' universe. So it's like I either keep my mouth shut for the rest of my life and just go or else I'm talking about the shit that I know is killing ya. Because basically that's all I see right now is I've had so many problems in my life and I've related all my problems with everybody else's problems and always tried to look for a solution to it. So the more problems you experience and the solutions to those experiences and finding out what works and what doesn't work, and you do a hell of a lot of research, you start to see a completely different picture. And what happens is you are sort of going outside the bubble of your reality. There are many bubbles within bubbles within bubbles of your reality, but if you only knew about it, you'd see it from a completely different perspective as I would. And it's almost like I feel in order for me to fit in with my society again, I've got to sort of introduce society to my perception. Because if they see what I see, you'd see a completely different picture. And my way is you're a hell of a lot healthier. Your way is you're killing yourself. So, what's inside you, the smallest, there's micro and macro perspective. The very, very smallness of yourself and the very, very bigness of yourself. And the smallness would be like your DNA and where your DNA comes from. And basically, technically, in a very layman's term or perspective, you think in chemical experiences. Every time you have a thought, you send out an electric wave that can be measured through EEG machines. So your magnetic waves that you put out into the world are affecting the planet. And what you think about tends to make things happen. So there's a negative and positive perspective to everything that you see in your world. So basically, every time you're having a thought, you're making a chemical experience that you're trying to relate a comprehension. What does this thought mean? Well, in the past, it's always been this way. So you've learned everything about your past based on your interactions with society. Your parents, you'll have the same customs, same beliefs as your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, the way they treat you in school, the way they treat you in business. Everything that you experience gives you your rule book of, well, this is how things work and this is how you got to fit within society. So if it's just chemical experiences, that's sort of the key that you got to understand, is what chemical experiences do you want to have? And can you control that? Can you actually control the direction of your DNA? Or let your DNA be on cruise control and you just keep responding to negative shit? Because that's basically all that's happening is like we've lived hell on earth. We've played a game where so few got harmed we didn't really notice, but in order to play that game of Monopoly, you know, everybody feels good at the beginning of the game because not too many are poor, but there's always somebody slowly that gets kicked out of the game. They're the ones that live in poverty, and you should have seen that it's a game that would lead everybody into poverty. Especially if you played the game over and over and over again, you always see that it's the guy that owns Boardwalk and Park Place that tips the game over. And you all agree to it. You all think it's a game. You all think, you know, it's fun. But the funness of this game means it's going to come and destroy this game. It's going to get tipped over, and we're going to play another game of the same damn thing like Groundhog Day, unless you open up your perspective of reality. And one post comment that I was trying to respond to today was saying that nothing's really moving. We're not really creating and destroying, but just perceiving everything completely different. That the universe, everything is true and false at the same time, basically, and there is science that says that, but it's how you're perceiving everything that makes things wrong. Outside of your DNA are your skin cells, like the bubbles within bubbles within bubbles. You know, outside your DNA is some type of human cell. You know, whether it be a heart cell or a skin cell, those cells belong to a body. Those body cells tend to respond to the DNA cells. Whatever your thoughts are about yourself, your beliefs about yourself, is in your skin, which all of your organs are all programmed to sit exactly where they sit and do exactly what they do according to all the beliefs of all of your past heritage. And what they all do is they send and receive information all the time. You're like a little antenna. Every cell has a send and receive transmitters that each cell tells it what to do. And your DNA, your thoughts, what you choose to think, how you choose to perceive your world, is making your arms move from one cell to another to another. There's some seagulls. So if you take yourself outside of the next bubble, is right now as a human body, you would perceive your view straight ahead, just like what this camera would be. But you have a much wider perspective. Things are going on all around you, but you only tend to see what's in front of you. You know, and how you perceive what's in front of you, it's like, you know, if you see a bunch of people talking about you, we are more than likely going to think they're talking negative about you than they're talking positive about you. But we do have a lot of heroes on the planet, and we just don't comprehend that some people see good things in you that you can't see in yourself. But if you take yourself out of the perspective of just one very linear thinking, that it's only you moving forward, and you jump outside and see you're part of a human race, look at it from a planetary, look as though you're looking at the earth from the moon perspective, and start to see that you're just one big friggin' family, all one being that needs to either survive or kill itself. And, you know, it's just rebuild and repopulate and do the game all over again based on what kind of belief system that survives. Some people will survive this. I've sort of come to terms with this, that the solution to everything is making sure every single human being survives this. But some choose to die to prove a point. Some choose to be the martyrs. Some choose to be the driving force for change. So, and it's like, it is very much like Monopoly, where you know it's a game, and you know it's going to be repeated, and you try to stop the game, but can this game really be stopped and rebooted? And what would really happen? Another outside the bubble is the universal bubble. Like, if you look outside the universal bubble, there's, you know, a lot of planets, a lot of stars, a lot of shit people don't seem to know about, whether there's aliens out there or not. And it's like, the planets and the stars are all just a reflection of who we are. It is the macro of our experience, and they are just identical reflections of what's inside our DNA. It's one bubble inside another, inside another. So if you want to understand who you are, then understand your perception of the universe, you know, and where you fit within that universe, and see if you're going to be the one that wants to survive this, you know, be the change and have something really, really amazing to look forward to, because life's going to get real good. Everything everybody could imagine is about to come true if you want to play in the game of winning. But if you want to play in the game of losing, it's like, okay, if you look at it from a universal perspective, you know the potential is this game is just going to get repeated over and over again. In the bigness of our world, if they look out inside, you know, out into the galaxy, it looks like things are like a circle. Things are spinning. And inside the smallness of every cell, it's just nothing but spinning pieces of information. Like, every cell just is spinning DNA information that just keeps repeating over and over and over and over again what the hell it is. But in order to see the universal perspective, that big, you need to have light shine on it. You need to receive information about it only through light. So by the time the sun goes all that distance to go and hit as far as out there as we can possibly see, by the time it gets back to the planet at the speed of light, it happened billions of years ago. Now, I'm not an expert on that. You know, I don't know if it's a billion. It could be, you know, a couple of thousand. I don't know. There will be some expert that will give you definitive answers. I only talk in general terms. But so anything that you see, like the planets lining up and shit, chances are that's already happened. It's just our perception that something's going to happen, and our realization of this is a Monopoly game, and so it's, the system needs to be rebooted. So I'm gonna stop this and start again.